Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm excited to share pretty much the first of hopefully many wedding related videos with you. And I thought it would be great to start off with my engagement story and how he popped the question. I love watching these videos, so I hope this is interesting and enjoyable for you as well. So let's jump right in. It was on a weekend, it was on a Saturday, and I kind of had known that this was going to come up eventually because my fiance and I, had talked about marriage at, various stages in our relationship, but I didn't really know exactly when this would be coming. And so a week or two leading up to it, he definitely seemed to be acting a little funny, kind of very giggly, very excited about something. So I had a little bit of a clue that, maybe something's going on, But anyway, it was on a Saturday and we had gone out to a very nice brunch. We went to Macrina Bakery here in Seattle, one of our favorite little spots to kind of start the weekend, and had a lovely meal. And one of the things that we love doing as a couple here in Seattle is going on ferry rides over to Bainbridge Island. So I actually live in the city of Seattle, like in the city itself, not in the suburbs or anything. And so it's really fun to go down to the pier, hop on a ferry on the weekends, and just kind of go on a little adventure. And it's something that we had done very early on in the relationship as a fun little excursion. And Bainbridge Island is very, very cute. It's super quaint. It's like a very small, tight-knit community. I don't know how to describe it. It's like a little village, and it's something that you would expect out of like a really cute novel or something like that. So we always love doing that. So we went over on the ferry, as we often do, and it's just beautiful to kind of watch the mountains go by. Seattle's just a very scenic place to live, period. So I always enjoy kind of staring out the window whenever we go. And so he said to me, like, let's go upstairs and sit outside and get some fresh air and stuff. And it was a very, very windy, blustery kind of a day. We tried to take some pictures and stuff, but my hair was just flying all over the place. I should have put it up. But I'll try to insert some photos, but we have photos where you can see him really clearly and I'm just like covered with my hair. And so anyway, we went upstairs and outside and kind of found like a little private covered area to go sit down at, and he was just sitting with me side by side. And before I knew it, he just kind of started his little speech, I guess you could call it. And he said so many wonderful, sweet things about me and our relationship, and how we're so lucky and that we have it so good together, and that we're good for each other and we make each other better, and that we really are each other's like best friend and confidant, and we're always rooting for each other and cheering for each other. And then he said with that he'd like to take things, to either to the next level or just wants to make it even better, something like that. I can't even remember now properly, and we were all alone, so I don't have pictures of this or video or anything. But he said all this to me side by side. We were sitting side by side together, and then he stood up, and he had brought a backpack with him, which I thought was weird because we don't usually go on the adventures with a backpack and tons of snacks and stuff, so I thought that was unusual. So then he's like rifling through this backpack mid-speech, standing up, finds the little box, is undoing the ribbon because the box is in a box, these multiple layers of packaging, and then he gets down on one knee. And of course by now I've realized, what's happening, and it was all just so surreal. And so he got down on one knee and he said, with that, I would love to ask you if you would be my Bumble partner. And I have to explain the joke to you. I'm very much the organized planner kind of a person, and he's much more spontaneous, and he's never like super organized. I would say he has a rough idea of what he needs to get done this week, but I always tease him that he's a bumble. He's just kind of like bumbling through life, and somehow things just magically work out. And that's kind of what we all do in a sense. We're all just kind of bumbling and fumbling our way through life. And so it was very sweet when he said to me, will you be my Bumble partner? Because It signifies like, okay, let's do this thing together. Let's like bumble and fumble and grow through life together. And it just brought me to tears, of course. I couldn't even really speak because I had such a lump in my throat, you know, in that moment. So I think I just kind of whimpered and just nodded, and I was crying a little bit and stuff. And the whole thing was just such an out-of-body experience. You know, you imagine these things happening in your life, but when that moment really actually happens and comes up, it's so strange and surreal, and you're very, very hyper present, and at the same time I felt like I was watching a movie on a screen or something. It's hard to explain, but that was that. And it was nice. We were alone. There was not a lot of people around or close by or anything, so we got to have that moment just for ourselves. And pretty soon after that, the ferry had reached Bainbridge, so this was on the ride from Seattle to Bainbridge Island. And so then we hopped off, and I was just like, I don't know, I was just kind of like, whoa, what's going on? Like, I had to really kind of collect myself in order to get off the ferry, and really clinging on very tightly to him, of course, in that moment. And I found myself wishing I could slow down time and just freeze that day or freeze that moment, you know? And so we hopped off the ferry, and then we kind of went for a long walk, as we always do. And there's a wonderful little gelato place that does delicious, you know, homemade gelato, and they have coffee and ice creams and other treats and stuff. So we like going there for a treat after a long walk. So we went there, got a treat, and that was kind of how we celebrated initially, just with gelato. And that's when we were able to sit down and call our family, you know, parents and siblings, and just have that initial conversation and everything, and tell them that this just happened. And it was wonderful. It was so nice to hear from everyone, and you get all the congratulations and stuff. And I think for me, once I had really talked to my mom on the phone, that's when it became real, and it didn't just feel like a dream that I was, you know, maybe possibly still asleep and just dreaming this up. So that was really cool, and it was just so lovely to talk to them and get their congrats and their blessing and their support, you know. And so then we took the ferry back, and we treated ourselves to a really nice dinner out. We went to a restaurant in Seattle called Wild Ginger, which is one of our favorites, and it's a place that we went to very, very early on when we met each other. So it has lots of good memories associated with it, and had a really nice meal and celebrated. And then, you know, I went home, and I actually think I went to sleep really early because the whole day was just so fun and magical, and just so much emotion, you know, that you experience in that kind of a moment, in that kind of a day. And so I think I was just exhausted and fell asleep really early. So we didn't go out partying all night or anything crazy like that. It was a really nice, romantic, and kind of a private proposal, which makes sense because my fiance is not very like flashy or showy. He's just really simple. He's from Seattle, he's from the Northwest, so I think going on that ferry ride and seeing the mountains and the scenery and everything is just, it was just perfect for us and who we are as a couple. So that was it. That's my engagement story. I hope you really enjoyed hearing the story. I'm excited to share the proposal and how it happened with you, and I'm excited to have this video as a memory for me to look back on as well. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to subscribe and give it a thumbs up if you did, so that you can stay up to date on future wedding planning videos. I've got a lot of ideas of things coming up, so I'd love to hear from you down in the comments of what you want to hear about. We are doing 2 weddings, an Indian Hindu ceremony and also an American ceremony, an American wedding in Washington as well. So I'm sure I'll have lots of tips on how to actually manage pulling off 2 ceremonies or 2 weddings or 2 different events. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!